Hello friends, Steve Stockton here with you. Welcome to our latest episode. In this video, we'll explore some of the history and legends of Yosemite National Park, as well as cases of hikers who went missing and were never found there. Join me, let's walk and see. Yosemite National Park is a popular tourist destination, welcoming approximately 4 million visitors annually from all over the world. The park is renowned for its stunning natural wonders, including the tallest waterfall in North America, Yosemite Falls, as well as granite domes, meadows, and spectacular high country lakes. Yosemite National Park covers an incredible 747,956 acres in California's central Sierra Nevada mountain range. Almost 95% of the park is designated as federal wilderness. The park's landscape is a testament to the cooperation and conflicts between different cultures, which led to the creation of the park we know and love today. Yosemite Valley in California was initially inhabited by Native Americans. However, the gold rush of 1849 resulted in severe environmental damage and a significant increase in the number of settlers and tourists. In 1864, to prevent commercial exploitation, Yosemite Valley and Mariposa Grove were declared a public trust of California. This was a significant achievement, as it marked the first time the U.S. government had taken steps to protect land for public enjoyment, which laid the foundation for the creation of national and state park systems. On October 1, 1890, Congress passed an act that created Yosemite National Park. John Muir, environmental activist, and his colleagues advocated for this congressional act, which was signed into law by then-President Benjamin Harrison. This paved the way for generations of hikers, campers, and nature enthusiasts to appreciate the park. Here are some legends associated with Yosemite. Now, humans have populated the area of Yosemite for at least 8,000 years. Archaeological evidence suggests that the first occupants used small flat stones to grind seeds and hunted using spears and atlatls. Ahwahnee, which means gaping mouth-like place, was a name given to Yosemite Valley. The people who lived there called themselves Ahwahnee. Over time, the ways of life of the early inhabitants changed as cultures replaced one another and oral histories and traditions were passed down through generations. These legends, rooted in the cultural heritage of the indigenous people and the natural wonders of Yosemite, contribute to the mythical and spiritual significance of the park and continue to be part of its cultural fabric. The legend of Pohono, spirit of the evil wind. On a beautiful early spring day long ago, the women of Ahwahnee were gathering fruits and berries while the men hunted in the forest. It was on this day that the legend of Pohono, or the spirit of the evil wind, came to be. 3 of the Ahwahnee women wandered along a trail above the valley to a spot where the mist from the waterfall fluttered below. They blissfully laughed together as they filled their baskets with grasses for basketry, until their joy unexpectedly ceased with the emergence of the mocking wail of Ponoho. The youngest of the 3 women stepped on a moss-covered rock and moved closer to the cliff's edge to pick a wisp of overhanging grass. As the others shouted a warning, the Pohono grabbed her and threw her onto the rocks below. She looked at her peers with a face full of terror, and in the next moment she was gone. The 2 remaining women hurried down the steep path to inform the others about the tragic event at the cliff's edge. They searched for the missing woman until nightfall, but found no trace of her. According to the legend, the woman's spirit joined Pohono and would not rest until another victim met their doom. Since then, the Ahwahnee hurried past the waterfall, and no one would sleep within sight of it, out of fear of being swept away to a spirit land of torture and unrest. Tenaya Canyon. Tenaya Lake was named after Chief Tenaya, the last Native American chief in Yosemite. In the 1850s, a group of armed settlers tried to force Chief Tenaya and his tribe out of the valley and relocate them to a reservation near Fresno. During the conflict, the chief's son was slain, which enraged him and led him to condemn the battalion captain and all settlers who tried to enter the canyon. Even John Muir, who is considered the father of national parks, experienced the curse's fury when he was knocked unconscious after experiencing a dangerous fall. The canyon has been the site of numerous rescues, leading park rangers to dub it the Bermuda Triangle of Yosemite. In an email statement to SF Gate, Yosemite spokesperson Scott Gettiman wrote, Yosemite National Park officials acknowledge the stories and legends surrounding Tenaya Canyon. However, The park has no official position on them. The Ghost of Grouse Lake. In 1867, Galen Clark became the first civilian guardian of Yosemite National Park and patrolled the park for 2 decades. During September 1857, Clark took a walk to Grouse Lake, an alpine lake located 8 miles from present-day site of Wawona. While resting by the shore, he heard a distinct wailing cry, similar to that of a lost canine. Clark joined a group of Native Americans at their hunting camp that night to inquire about the wailing sound he had heard. They advised him that it was not a dog, but the spirit of a young boy who had drowned in the lake. The tribe urged him not to go near the lake or risk being caught by the legs and pulled under to his demise by the spirit of the deceased boy. Where is Elmer? The following tale is presented in a National Park Service blog post by a Yosemite Park Ranger known as AR. AR states that one of the more modern and bizarre questions asked in Yosemite Valley today is, where is Elmer? Yosemite campers have been haunted by voices echoing through the campgrounds calling out for Elmer since at least the 1930s. Elmer is a mysterious phenomenon typically observed during summer nights. Its origins remain unconfirmed, and the National Park Service has not officially endorsed it. According to AR, when someone calls out for Elmer, it is usually an adult male hoping to elicit a response from another camper. This call is often answered by someone using the same loud and unpleasant tone of voice. Soon, a group of children join in, seemingly coerced into participating by social pressure or some primitive human instinct. AR says when children are asked why they yell Elmer, most would respond, because everyone else was doing it. On the other hand, the person who started the whole thing would say, because we used to do it all the time when I was a kid. In 1961, Louis G. Karcher, a park ranger, attempted to explain the phenomenon known as Elmer in an article he wrote for Yosemite Nature Notes. According to Ranger Karcher, some campers believed that Elmer was a bear that frequently visited the campgrounds in search of food. Others speculated that the children in the campground were fond of the elusive creature and named it Elmer. However, neither Ranger Karcher nor AR found these explanations convincing. In the 1970s, Henry W. Splitter investigated the Elmer sightings in Yosemite's campgrounds. Elmer was a World War I nickname for a derelict soldier, and the phrase, "Where is Elmer?" may have spread to civilians after the war. A comedy movie called Elmer the Great was released in 1933. In the film, characters repeatedly shout out for Elmer in the darkness. AR says it's possible that someone inspired by the film started calling out the name Elmer at night, creating a trend that continued to grow. In a written account by Francis Plocker Robinson, a longtime Yosemite camper, it is reported that a recently engaged young man named Elmer missed a celebration for his engagement while camping with his family in 1937, which led to his family and other campers to call out for him repeatedly. Eventually, Elmer returned, ashamed, and a ranger reprimanded his family for their behavior. Yosemite historian Shirley Sargent was informed about this incident by Robinson. AR writes that Henry W. Splitter communicated with Edward W. Sarin, who worked as a water boy in the valley campgrounds in the 1930s. Before running water was installed, someone had to carry buckets from the river to campsites, and Sarin was paid to bring water to campers. In 1937, a young boy began calling Edward Sarin Elmer. Mr. Sarin believed it was likely due to the popularity of the film Elmer the Great. AR concludes by saying, regardless of the origin, we will likely always have more questions than answers surrounding the enigmatic character known as Elmer. Nevertheless, if you find yourself camping in Yosemite, don't be surprised if you hear the name Elmer reverberating throughout your campsite during the night. And now, missing person cases from Yosemite. Rock falls are the most powerful geologic force shaping Yosemite Valley today. Although rock falls are relatively uncommon, several occur in Yosemite Valley each year. They are dangerous and can cause injury or death. And on the upper pitches, inclement weather often means impromptu waterfalls and water funneling down the cracks from rain or melting ice. The areas around Camp 5 and 6 and above are particularly vulnerable to runoff. Yosemite National Park boasts over 800 miles of hiking trails and has been the site of numerous search and rescue missions to locate missing hikers, with over 30 cases since 1909. Each year, park rangers and search and rescue personnel respond to approximately 250 emergency incidents in the park. Here are some of the missing. F.P. Shepard, who went missing in 1909. According to the book Off the Wall, Death in Yosemite, written by Michael P. Giglieri and Charles R. Farabee, F.P. Shepard, a resident of California and a young jeweler, is believed to be the first person to have disappeared in Yosemite National Park. On June 17, 1909, F.P. departed Glacier Point, intending to hike to the nearby Sentinel Dome. Despite his companions turning back due to heavy fog and inclement weather, he decided to press on. Sadly, this would be the last time he was ever seen. It was believed that F.P. had fallen off a cliff and into a deep canyon or had gotten lost in the fog and could not return. A search party of as many as 25 soldiers was dispatched to look for him, but to no avail. They had gone as far as Illilouette Falls and the Merced River, but could not find any trace of him. A pair of F.P.'s gloves were found in his lodge, and there was hope that they would assist bloodhounds in tracking his scent. Despite the exhaustive search effort by the U.S. Cavalry and the use of bloodhounds, no clues or signs of the missing man were ever found. Next, we have Dikran Nagian, who disappeared in 1972. On July 24, 1972, Dikran Nagian, a 20-year-old medical student at Cambridge University in England, rented a cabin in Yosemite during his summer break. He was last seen in Curry Village, where he asked for directions to Half Dome. Dikran's clothes and other personal belongings were found in the cabin, but he was assumed to be carrying his Pentax 35mm camera. Chief Ranger Jack Moorhead said, "We've checked everything. Every ride, every concessionaire, all the hiking trails, all the backcountry areas, and we can't locate a trace of him. It's an awfully big park. He could have taken his camera out and gone off a trail and somehow hurt himself, and we'd never find him." A personal ad, submitted by the family's attorney, Gustav L. Goldstein, to local newspapers, requested Dikran contact him or his parents as they were, quote, suffering great agony, grief, and anxiety, end quote, over his failure to write them. To this day, no trace of Dikran has been found. Anyone with any information is asked to contact the National Park Service tip line at 888-653-0009. Next, we have Stacey Arras, who went missing in 1981. Stacey Arras, a 14-year-old Westmont High School sophomore, went on a 4-day camping trip on the High Sierra Loop at Tuolumne Meadows in Yosemite National Park with her father, George. They traveled with other campers on mules to Sunrise High Sierra Camp and arrived around 3 p.m. on July 17, 1981. Stacey settled into her cabin and took a shower. After that, she started a 1.5-mile hike along the trail to Sunrise Lake to take some photos. Gerald Stewart, a 77-year-old from the group, accompanied her. However, Gerald soon became tired, so he rested and eventually returned to camp while Stacey continued. The guide who led the ride to Sunrise was working at the corral when he noticed Stacey standing on a rock approximately 50 yards south of the trail. He was reportedly the last person to see her. When Stacey did not return, she was reported missing. After a brief search of the campsite by staff, park rangers were notified. Gerald Stewart told park officials that he had spoken to a group of people coming from the direction Stacey had taken, but they had not seen Stacey. A comprehensive search effort of 100 people at its height involved park rangers, volunteers, helicopters, and search dogs, but Stacey was not found. According to a park spokesperson, although search dogs are efficient, they are not infallible, and their success depends on the wind direction and some luck, as they have to be upwind of the person they are searching for. Ranger Tom Habecker said, "It's just like she vanished. There are no tracks or no clues. It's a complete mystery." The National Guard brought in 130 members of the Sierra Madre Search and Rescue Team, but they also could not locate Stacey. As the official search was called off, routine patrols continued in the area. "It's unusual. Usually we find some trace," said Park Service official Linda Abbott. The Park Service said that foul play was ruled out. They also said that Stacey might have hiked to a road and left the park. A search volunteer said there are many places where a body could slip in. If she was injured, she could have crept under a ledge or into a hollow tree to escape night temperatures, which were near freezing at the time of Stacey's disappearance. To this day, Stacey has never been found. The National Park Service does not mention her camera or lens cap being found, as cited in some sources. Ranger Bob Johnson said 3 words regarding the search outcome for Stacey, quote, "Nothing significant found," end quote. Anyone with any information is asked to contact the National Park Service tip line at 653-0009. Next, Timothy John Barnes, who disappeared from Yosemite in 1988. On July 5, 1988, 24-year-old California resident Timothy John Barnes left Tenaya Lake east of Tioga Road for a day hike to Polydome Lakes in the Yosemite High Country. The last known sighting of him was around 9 a.m. near the Murphy Creek trailhead. He failed to return that afternoon, as companions reported him missing the following day, according to National Park spokesperson Marianne Hamilton. For 7 days, over 170 people, helicopters with infrared equipment, and canines combed the area for the missing hiker. Ultimately, with no trace of Timothy being found, a Park Service spokesman announced, "We're scaling back the search and demobilizing the search teams because we haven't found even the slightest clue of his whereabouts." Officials added, "Investigators will check out any leads we get any time in the future." To this day, Timothy has never been found. Anyone with any information is asked to please contact the National Park Service tip line at 888-653-0009. Next, David Paul Morrison, who went missing in the park in 1998. On Memorial Day in 1998, 28-year-old experienced hiker David Paul Morrison took a solo hike to Half Dome in Yosemite National Park. He planned to meet his girlfriend at the trailhead later that day after departing Curry Village. However, as night fell and David was nowhere to be found, his girlfriend grew increasingly worried and reported him missing to the authorities. She also contacted David's parents to inform them of his disappearance at around 10 p.m. that same night. David was last seen talking to a group of hikers on an outward bound expedition in Yosemite Valley at around 7:15 a.m. He asked for directions to Half Dome and mentioned that the cloud cover was very thick. The hike from Yosemite Valley to Half Dome is a challenging 14 to 16-mile trek with steep inclines. The following day, David was still missing. A search party consisting of 75 people, 5 canine teams, and a California Highway Patrol helicopter scoured the area in search of him. Initially, David's mother and stepfather participated in the search, but his father and brother joined soon after. Due to unfavorable weather conditions and the need to rescue 2 stranded climbers near El Capitan's Peak, the search for David was impeded. Despite the best efforts of the search team, David remained missing. After a week of searching, the search was called off as there were no signs of him found. David remains missing to this day. Anyone with any information is asked to contact the National Park Service tip line at 888-653-0009. Next up, we have Kieran Burke, who went missing in 2000. Kieran Burke, a 45-year-old experienced hiker from Ireland, was hiking in Yosemite National Park from April 4 through the 6th in the year 2000. The last confirmed sighting of him was on April 5, 2000, at Curry Village, and it's believed he was on his way to hike alone, said park spokesperson Christine Cowles. Kieran called his wife, Mino, the day he disappeared, and that was the last time anyone heard from him. On April 6, 2000, Kieran was reported missing by the park staff when they noticed he had not checked out. The weather in Yosemite was bright and warm during the initial days after Kieran's disappearance. However, later in the week, storms brought a mix of snow and rain, which complicated the search efforts. According to Cowles, Kieran's tent still contained his belongings. His rental vehicle was found in a parking lot in Curry Village. After 12 days, officials had to put the search for Kieran on hold. Mike Durr, one of the rangers who coordinated the search, said, "The area we're trying to search is much too vast." Officials said the search would resume if they could find out where Kieran was headed in the park. Kieran's brother, Lorcan, who flew from Ireland and participated in the search, said, "I haven't fully gone through the possibility of not coming home with him. I feel like I'll be looking for him for the rest of my life." To this day, Kieran has never been found. Anyone with any information regarding his whereabouts or disappearance is asked to please contact the National Park Service tip line at 888-653-0009. Next, we have Ruthanne Rupert, who also went missing in the year 2000. 49-year-old Ruthanne Rupert, an avid hiker and backpacker living in South Daytona, Florida, arrived in Yosemite National Park on August 8, 2000, for an organized 30-mile backpacking trip and was last seen on August 14, either at the Yosemite Medical Clinic or Curry Village. She had joined other hikers who convinced her to go to the park's medical clinic due to an infection. Ruthanne went to the clinic, but the other hikers had already left when she returned. Ruthanne's relatives reported her missing on September 11 after she failed to return from her trip. According to Ray Santos, a spokesperson for the park, Ruthanne was last seen at the medical clinic on the morning of August 14. Records indicate that she checked into a tent cabin at Curry Village around noon that day. After Ruthanne was reported missing, her purple Kia rental car, packed with her belongings, was found at Curry Village on September 11. According to spokesperson Santos, some campers at one of Ruthanne's campsites reported that she had expressed interest in exploring Indian Canyon and Snow Creek Trail to the east of Yosemite Falls. It's possible that she might have gone in that direction, but we really don't have indication whether she did or not, said Santos. We have not found anyone who actually saw her leave her camp. Search teams conducted daily searches of Yosemite Valley with the help of search dogs and helicopters. Despite their efforts, Ruthanne remained missing, and officials were forced to scale down the search due to the considerable amount of time that had passed since she was last seen. At this point, there's no place where we can pinpoint the search, spokesperson Santos said. We've been focusing on areas where people are known to get into trouble. Ruthanne's backpack was found in 2008 in the Fireplace Creek drainage along the hiking route from Yosemite Falls to Foresta. Sadly, Ruthanne has never been found. If you have any information about her disappearance, please contact the National Park Service tip line at 888-653-0009. Next up, we have George Panka, who went missing from Yosemite in 2011. On June 17, 2011, 30-year-old George Panka went on a hike with about 20 members of his church group on the Upper Yosemite Falls Trail. During the trip back, he separated from the group, and the other members assumed he had gone ahead. However, when he failed to return, he was reported missing. The weather conditions during the weekend were mild, with overnight temperatures above 40 degrees Fahrenheit. A team of approximately 105 search and rescue personnel from various parts of the state, along with search dogs and a dozen helicopters, conducted a full-scale search to find George. The search efforts were continuous and extensive, but unfortunately they yielded no results. After searching for almost a week, no clues were found regarding George's whereabouts. The officials sadly announced they would reduce the search to a limited, continuous mode. Since his disappearance, his bank account has remained unused, and no trace of his bag, clothes, or remains have been found. The authorities have not released any evidence of foul play. George remains missing, and if you have any information to share, you're asked to please contact the National Park Service tip line at 888-653-0009. Next up, Peter Jackson, who disappeared in 2016. On September 17, 2016, Peter Jackson, a 74-year-old avid hiker in exceptional physical health, sent a text message to his son stating he was on his way to Yosemite National Park. He set up camp at White Wolf Campground and paid for his reservation through September 21 when he planned to return home. Peter planned to spend several days camping at the White Wolf Campground and take some day hikes into the California wilderness. His scheduled departure from the campground was on September 21, 2016, but he never checked out. On September 26, Peter was reported missing. The last contact he had with anyone was on September 17 when he texted his son about his plans. His vehicle was located at the campground. A search was conducted to find Peter, but on October 2, 2016, the search was placed in continuous limited mode due to a lack of new clues and incoming inclement weather. Scott Gettleman, a park spokesperson, said, "Unfortunately, we have not been able to locate Mr. Jackson. We've had an active search effort with search dogs, airplanes, a lot of folks on the trail. We have not found him." In August 2019, Peter's backpack was found in the Ackerson Meadow, Aspen Valley area on the west side of Yosemite National Park. Unfortunately, Peter has never been found. Anyone with any information is asked to please contact the National Park Service tip line at 888-653-0009. And lastly, Joel Thomasson, who went missing in 2021. Joel Thomasson, a 31-year-old hiker and Army reservist, started a solo hiking trip on September 6, 2021. He planned to hike from Hetch Hetchy to Lake Eleanor for fishing and return to Hetch Hetchy by September 9, 2021. However, It is possible that he decided to prolong his trip to Cherry Lake or explore the north or east areas of the Grand Canyon of the Tuolumne River. A park ranger saw him on the first day of his hike near a steep section of O'Shaughnessy Dam, which is believed to be the last known sighting of Joel. When Joel was 2 days overdue from his trip, he was declared missing by park officials. Search efforts included National Park Service officials, helicopters, kayaks, boats, and search dogs. Missing person flyers were also posted along highways 108 and 395. In October 2021, the search was reduced to a continuous, limited mode. Joel's father, Stephen, believed he may have gone off trail because of his military background and familiarity with the area. Joel's best friend had recently passed away, and when another friend passed away in a fishing accident, Joel also went backpacking to clear his head. Stephen Thomasson said he was looking forward to going out to seek God and to talk to God. From his history of doing that when one of his friends passed away, it wasn't odd, it wasn't out of character, and it wasn't out of depression. Joel has never been found, and a memorial service was held for him on December 4, 2021. If you have any information regarding Joel's disappearance, please contact the National Park Service tip line at 888-653-0009. Know before you go. In order to have a safe and enjoyable visit to Yosemite National Park, it's crucial to ensure you're well prepared beforehand. This includes checking the weather, bringing appropriate gear and supplies, and being aware of any potential hazards in the area. Yosemite welcomes millions of visitors from April to October, with Yosemite Valley being the most popular spot. However, the park has many other beautiful locations to explore. While it is not necessary to make reservations to enter Yosemite, it is strongly recommended to do so for lodging, camping, and backpacking. The Park Service suggests arriving before 9 a.m. or after 5 p.m. to avoid traffic. It's essential to recognize that wildlife should be left alone. Do not approach or feed wild animals. Avoid any behavior that could disturb or endanger the animals or their natural habitat. Be sure to practice proper food storage and adequately dispose of all trash. Obey posted speed limits. Use pullouts to take pictures, and allow other vehicles to pass when stopping for photos. Remember that cell service may be limited in the park, making it difficult to receive calls or texts. It is recommended that you carry a headlamp, whistle, map, compass, and flashlight with you on every hike, even if it's just a short day hike. A personal locator beacon is also a good idea. Additionally, make sure to take and drink plenty of water. Wearing sturdy footwear with good traction can help to prevent ankle injuries. It's also crucial to remember that even minor or moderate health or medical issues can be easily exacerbated by hiking up steep valley trails. Know your limits and pay attention to how you're feeling. When hiking, it's important to stay on the established trail. If you're hiking in a group, it's recommended that each group member carry some food and water in case the party becomes separated. Additionally, it's a good idea to plan where to meet if the members become separated. In conclusion, Yosemite National Park stands as a breathtaking testament to the raw beauty and untamed grandeur of nature. Its iconic granite cliffs, pristine lakes, towering waterfalls, and lush valleys create a landscape that captivates the hearts and imaginations of millions of visitors each year. From the awe-inspiring vistas of Half Dome and El Capitan to the tranquil serenity of Mirror Lake, every corner of Yosemite offers a unique and unforgettable experience. However, amidst its beauty lies a reminder of the delicate balance between humans and the natural world. Yosemite's wonders are not without their dangers. From treacherous hiking trails to unpredictable weather conditions, the park demands the utmost respect and caution from its explorers. The towering heights and roaring waterfalls that inspire awe also serve as a reminder of the sheer power and unpredictability of nature. Well, friends, there you have it. What do you think of these cases from Yosemite National Park? I look forward to your comments, but please keep it friendly and respectful. Until we meet again, be good to yourselves and each other, and stay safe out there. As for me, I'll see you a little further on down the trail. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'll talk to you next time. And please, tell your animals I said hi.